How you going? Welcome to Gretchy's World. I grew up in Brinzelly. I'm 33 years old. I was born with cerebral palsy. I didn't quite know what cerebral palsy meant, but I definitely worked out how it works and how to beat it. Ha ha ha. Today's podcast is gonna be a bit of a longer one, but it's probably the best podcast that you ever hear about anxiety. Today we're tackling anxiety, and I got some good news for you. Anxiety isn't a lifestyle, it can be a choice. And I'm gonna give you some good techniques. So, don't forget, I'm on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook under Gretchy's World. My Instagram is Gretchy's World 69. That's 69. Every time I think of that number, it brings a smile to my face. I said on here a few times how I didn't start walking till I was 8 years old. And that I was always a big Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. All I ever watched was Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Lee, and Batman. Now the top 3 heroes. So, as you know, that like ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to go to the gym. I always wanted to look like my heroes, work on my body, be stronger and look stronger, have muscles. So when I was 15, I was a real skinny kid. Me walking was a bit all over the shop. Now I didn't have hardly any balance. Me posture and just my whole body frame was very weak. Just the way I walked and the way I carried my body around. My muscles were a lot more tighter. I had no real steadiness in like a lot less steadiness with grabbing things and doing a lot of pure fine motor skills. So when I was about 15, maybe 14, I said to my mum, I said, it's time. I said, I'm old enough to join the gym now. And yeah, Mum was going to Plus Fitness at Camden. And back then that was a real good gym. That was, before it was 24/7. And you had like full-time staff there. And all the staff were real helpful. They'd all walk around, joke with you, talk a bit of shit with you. There was a lot of older guys, like there was this guy Brian, he was about 30 something at the time, and I was about 14, and he had real good ideas. He used to talk to me a lot. He'd do exercises, and he'd have real good ideas on how to straighten my body and make it more beneficial. One time I was doing squats and he got like skinny little 5 kilo plates and shut them under me heels. So I was standing with my heels on these plates doing squats, and that made me knees go straighter. So it was more beneficial and it was gonna fit my body, not, make it worse. And yeah, that was a lot of help, and that made me more creative on how I can modify things to fit other parts of my body, or how I can modify things to even do stuff better than I wanted to do that I couldn't do before. So when you got cerebral palsy, your muscles are real tight. They're just tense all the time. But when you do weights, all the blood starts going through that muscle, and it's like it's waking that muscle up, and like your muscle kind of gets in when it's getting worked, and it kind of starts relaxing, and then you got more coordination, you can move better, because that muscle, when it's weak, it's just like a hard rock, it just stiffens up. So a lot of people think going to the gym and working your muscles is bad for cerebral palsy, because your muscles are the problem with their tightness, but really, yeah, exercising that muscle will get rid of that tightness and get all your blood flowing and make it all real relaxed, and then you can kind of move it better and coordinate it better and do what you want to do. So from going to the gym, I found out ways that I can work my body better and better, and I was starting to skateboard, draw, I was doing everything. And I remember when I was a kid, a lot of people said, "Oh, you're not going to be able to drive a car. You're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to do that." A lot of people said that to me, and it made me just want to prove them wrong. And I knew that I could do it all if I put my mind to it. It's all mental. I believed in myself, and I wouldn't take no for an answer, and I'd sit there and just think how I can get it all done. I remember when I was 18, I got my license, and a lot of people were real surprised, like, you know, I didn't even think I could get my license, but I just kept telling myself, I can do it, and I ended up doing it. So I was at a time when I was 18 where I was on top of the world, like, I proved all this stuff that everyone thought I couldn't do, and I felt like Superman or something. When I got my license, I'd drive around and people would go, "Oh, are you driving, are you?" And I go, "Yeah." And they go, "Oh, well, I'm going to get off the road if you're on the road." And yeah, it might be a joke, but who are they to say that I'm a worse driver than they are? Like, I've got to still do the test. People aren't going to pass you if you didn't earn to pass that driving test, because the people doing their test would get in big trouble if they're going to pass someone that's not fit to drive. So I thought that comment that I used to hear off everyone, "Oh, I'm staying off the road if you're on it," yeah, that used to really piss me off. And I was at a stage where going through your whole life, having no expectations, and you will get a lot of anger from that, and to use that anger to prove everyone wrong, to push yourself harder and harder, to do better and better, and to do more goals. So it went from being at a good point in my life to being a perfectionist. I got in a brain cycle that everything had to be challenged. All I would think about is what I can do next. What's the next challenge? How can I prove everyone wrong? Because it used to hit me that they'd have high expectations for me. When you're a perfectionist, you kind of beat yourself up for every little mistake you do, and there's not a single day where you're not going to make a mistake. So it's a pretty unrealistic belief to have in your head every day, because it's not even realistic to live up to, and it doesn't really mean anything. All it is that belief that you gotta be a perfectionist. It come from something that a few people said to me as I was growing up, and that happened repetitively a few times through my life, and that's what drove me to perfectionism. So when you're trying to be good at everything, when you want to do everything good, you start looking at everything you're bad at. So it's not a good way to be. You're looking at negatives more than positives because you're trying to perfect everything. A lot of times that can create nervousness too, because like you go for play a game of footy, and you know that everyone at that game of footy is thinking that you're worse off than everyone else, so you want to try hard to prove them wrong, and you're scared of underperforming because you want to show them what you really can do. But when you're in that mindset, that creates nervousness because you're not relaxed. All you're thinking at is, don't get this wrong, we gotta prove it. That's nervousness. When you're nervous, you're telling yourself to focus on the thing that you might get wrong instead of the good thing that you might get right. And that makes you end up really making a lot of mistakes. You're living on that edge of nervousness all the time, and if you're thinking that every day, if you're a perfectionist every day, your brain is gonna be stuck in that way of thinking, and it's a pattern. And it becomes a lifestyle. It's a routine, and you get more addicted to that way of thinking all the time. You've always got something to prove, and all it comes from is what people said to me. And when you start looking at it, who are them people? Like, really, they mean nothing. Like, they're not really educated. So why did I let them bother me? Like, my real friends around me, they would never, like, make jokes. They'd just get in the car and they let me drive them anywhere, and they wouldn't worry about it. So this is how anxiety starts. Someone might say something to you when you're a kid over and over, and you start to believe them, and you want to fight it, and their voice is stuck in your head that you're not this, you're not worthy, but when you listen to that voice, you start questioning yourself. So there's that voice going through your head saying, in my case, you're never gonna do this, you're never gonna do that. And then there's another voice in your head that you wanna fight it. So then you start getting paranoid and you judge yourself for everything that you do. And that's how anxiety starts. So why is anxiety so big today? I've told you how I got started with it, because of what people said. Like, now you got all this social media. People are going on social media and they're seeing other people with a lot of money, fancy cars, and then the people that don't have that money and fancy cars, questioning themselves. Why don't I have that? Why don't I have this? You know, you could be sitting in your room bored one night and you could go on Snapchat and see your mates partying and you go, what am I doing here, you know? And then you start questioning your own life. But the people that you're looking at on Instagram with all this money and all these fancy cars, like, they might have all the materialistic shit, but you don't know what's going on in their head. A lot of people nowadays, they buy fancy cars, and they can buy all this materialistic stuff because they want to prove a point. A lot of them are very insecure, and that's how they can cover that up by looking like they're this big party person and their whole life's a joy and they got all this money, but really in their head they're just very not feeling real good about themselves, but they're trying to show you something that they're not. They're living to prove a point. Just like I was when I got hooked on doing challenges all the time and trying to prove that I can do this and do that. It was me against myself, you know, all because of what people said. So that's why you can't judge what you see, because you never know what's going through someone's head. You can't read their brain, and what's on the outside isn't always the case, and you might have a better life than they do, but because you see them with all the money, it kind of looks the opposite way, and you start beating yourself up and wonder why you don't have what they have. So you can't do that. So let's look at anxiety. So anxiety, like when you're a perfectionist or when you put yourself down a lot, you're trying to be real good at something. You're trying to be the best at everything. And that's why you're always questioning yourself. Your brain's in that pattern, you're living that lifestyle. But I could do a million challenges, but when you're obsessed with being a perfectionist, you could complete one challenge and be happy for a day, and then you can look at the next challenge because you've got an addiction to proving something to other people. You're not really completing all these goals and challenges for your own happiness anymore. It's an addiction, just like alcoholism, drugs. It's a form of an addiction. Perfectionist is an addiction. So I also got told that when I was a kid is that I'm always going to need to live with my parents because I wouldn't be able to live on my own. So I was saving every dollar so I could buy a house, and it was all about buying a house. It was all about the future. My whole life was about the future. And I had a lot of money saved up, but I was miserable and full of anxiety. So what I started doing is started looking at all the things that cause anxiety. So I started spending a bit more money, started enjoying myself, go get some nice food, go buy a nice meal and go out more, treat myself, go on more holidays. Another thing was all the challenges I had to be good at. I had to learn. There was a time where I was drawing for 3 hours a day because I wanted to prove that I could do animation, and I was proving it. I was doing it, and I was doing a good job. But I couldn't wait to get it done just to prove that I could do it. So I was rushing it. So I was doing animation, drawing 3 to 4 hours a day. I was wearing myself out, and I wasn't in a good spot. So I thought, alright, this perfectionism, what's another step I can do? Limit my drawing. I started drawing 3 days a week, and I time myself for an hour. So I limited that. The gym, I started going to the gym a bit less. Now I only go 3 days a week, for about an hour as well. So now I've managed my time where there's only a little part of the day where I'm doing a bit of training and I'm doing a challenge, and the rest of the day I do whatever I want to do. If I want to go to the Blue Mountains, I'll go to the Blue Mountains and enjoy myself, sit at a lookout, and I'm not in a rush to just enjoy the view, go talk to people, lay in the sun. You're not thinking about challenges. All you're doing is relaxing, laying in the sun, go on holidays, spend money, enjoy it, eat good food, relax, meet people. You're pretty much freeing your life up, because when you're trying to save every dollar to be a millionaire, and you're working non-stop, and you're working on challenges non-stop, because you think when you're gonna be good at something, you're gonna be happy. It's all bullshit. All you are is a robot. You lose all your feelings. You walk in and out the door, you go to work, you come home, you go to work, you come home. And you're taught that money is everything. Money is not everything. If you can afford to get by and give away a little bit of work and lose a bit of money and use that time instead of overworking yourself to do whatever you want to do to enjoy your life, that is going to make anxiety go away a lot more, because you're not living on that edge of trying to be good at all the time. So you're more relaxed, you're more getting used to that easy, relaxed life. You're not second guessing yourself, because everything in life is not a competition anymore. And that's what anxiety is. It's being too competitive, that you start judging yourself for everything that you do day to day. And it's not good. And where did anxiety come from? You're programmed. You're programmed for what people might have said to you. In my case, it was that I couldn't do stuff. They program my brain. Society programs your brain. They tell you that you're going to be a millionaire. Now you're going to get year 12. When I was a kid, my dad and my uncle was a bricklayer, and I used to go to work with Dad now and then and go on the building sites, talk to all the men just talking and laughing, men talking, all that. And I'm watching, they've all got muscles, they're all getting a tan. All I ever wanted to do when I was a kid, when I got older, I wanted to be a bricklayer. And I remember when I was 18, I had a few days to work with my Uncle George. And one day we did 1,000 bricks, and it was hard work, and it was a nice hot day, and me and my Uncle George were just talking about the past woman that he had in his life. My Uncle George done pretty good with the woman, and I was telling him stories, and he was telling me stories, and we laughed our head off all day while we're working hard, you know, and you can make 10 times more money, but making big money is not everything if you just stressed out and miserable, because that day when the Uncle George talking and laughing, you got no big boss over your shoulder now, and then you got the supervisor that drops in now and then, and other than that, it's, that day's work I did, that was one of the simplest, greatest moments that I've ever had. Just hanging out with the boys, working all day, you know. And that's what's more important. If you can get a job and live day to day, enjoying your life from the job that you have, instead of just thinking about the future and being unhappy from now to the future. Hey, I'd rather be happy throughout my whole life and have a decent job, a decent paying job, than have a job that pays millions of dollars. And I'm stressed out every day, angry and overworking and killing myself. And if you want to go to uni, you want to be a doctor, or you want to have a job that you got to go to uni to do, fine. Go ahead and do it. Follow your dreams. Get whatever job you want to do if that makes you happy. But there are some kids that go to school and they're just not cut out to do paperwork and all these uni courses, and they're better with the practical, not the theory. They might not have a real good attention span at school, but they got a lot of heart with physical work. And them kind of kids shouldn't be pressured to go to uni in this day and age if they're not suitable for it. And that's what's more important. If you can get a job and live day to day, enjoying your life from the job that you have, instead of just thinking about the future and being unhappy from now to the future. Hey, I'd rather be happy throughout my whole life. And plus, when you have kids, there's so much pressure on kids now to go to uni, get a good job, this and that. I went to school with people that didn't even finish year 10, but they had the balls, they had the heart to work hard, and they ended up buying houses earlier than kids that went to university. I don't think it's about all this materialistic stuff when it comes to work. If it's all about your attitude, if your kid chooses a job that he wants to do, and he's got the balls to turn up every day and work hard, I think that's a successful kid. And let's talk about your fun lifestyle. Now, yeah, you can own a Lamborghini and drive it around every day. After all, it's just a car. It's the same shit every day. You can party all the time. Is that really happiness? I've found that, the simplest things that don't cost money or don't cost that much money are the best times that you remember forever, since I was a kid sitting on a veranda with me old mate Charlie, just talking and laughing and telling stories. Going to a lookout with your mates and just appreciating the view in front of you and just talking and laughing. It's spending quality social time, which is way more important to me than anything that $1 billion can buy. Now, quickly, while on the subject of doing simple things with your mates, going on lookouts, having a bonfire, sitting around a fire, talking to your mates, talking and laughing, telling stories. I'd like to quickly touch on phones. Now, when you're on your phone at a lookout or when you're on your phone with your mates, you're not fully in the moment. When I go to a lookout or when I'm talking to a mate, I'm looking at the lookout or I'm looking straight at me mate. I'm fully engaged with me mate because number one is that my mate is way more important than any stupid shit that I could find on my phone, You can go on your phone and look at what they're doing on Instagram or whatever they're doing, but you're not with them people on Instagram. You're with that mate that you chose to be with. So if you're going to look at what other people are doing, you may as well go hang out with them. Another reason is that when you're on your phone all the time, say you go to a lookout and you're on your phone or you talk to your mates or on a phone, you're never really in the moment. In a way, I can compare a phone to a spoiled kid. Now, you look at a spoiled kid that's given everything, you'll notice that a kid that's spoiled will just suck all the time because he's given too much. He doesn't know where he's not got his feet on the ground. Everything's coming so easy and there's so many things going on to choose from that he's not grounded and he's a very lost kid. That's why a lot of spoiled kids, they just cry all the time because nothing's ever really special. They can get what they want when they want. You get a kid that you might buy him an ice cream every 2 months after school. When he gets that ice cream, he'll sit on that ice cream and think about it for a whole week. And he's probably the happiest anyone's ever been for that whole week. He's appreciating the moment. When you're on your phone, your brain's always distracted. Your brain always needs to be moving 100 miles an hour. When you're waiting for a bus, you're on your phone. When you're talking to a mate, you're on your phone. When you're at a lookout looking at a nice view, you're on your phone. Your whole life's going by past you, and you're never in the moment. You're never really appreciating what's in front of you. And even at the littlest times when you're off your phone, your brain's got a short attention span because you've trained it that way. It's a pattern. And that's got to do with anxiety. Anxiety is not being in the moment. Now, being in the moment is what gets rid of anxiety and nervousness, because when you're trying to enjoy something, but you've got a lot of anxiety in your brain and it's going round and round and round, you're never in the moment. You could be watching a movie, your favourite movie, and you could be having anxiety from what happened earlier that day. You're not even fully concentrated on your favourite movie that you're watching because your brain is away in a world of anxiety. So anxiety is coming from the past, and nervousness is what's going to happen in the future. Like, if you're thinking about playing a game of footy real good the whole week before it, you're going to crumble when you get to it. But if you're in the moment all the time, you're just gonna turn up to that game of footy when you're on the way to the game of footy, you're sitting in the car, you're fully tuned in to being in the car. You're not playing that game before you're in the game. You're playing the game when you're in the game. When you're in the game, you're in the moment. You're playing what's in front of you. You're not trying too hard. You're not over thinking it. The ball comes to your hands. You're just there. You're in the moment. You're looking in front of you. You're playing the game as you see it. So nervousness is for the future. Anxiety is from the past. Anxiety is coming from the past. It's what people put in your head. It's what society put in your head in the past. Or it could be a bad experience you had in the past that you think it's going to repeat. Now, don't worry about bad experiences. Don't worry about mistakes. John Lennon said, "There's no such thing as problems, only solutions." So if you can practice being in the moment all the time and fully engage in what you're doing 24/7, there should be nothing in your head. Enough. The only thing that should be in your head is what you're doing and what's in front of you. So I've got an exercise that I've been doing to stay in the moment and get rid of the anxiety, get rid of nervousness, and it really does work. So once a day, I'll lie down, maybe in the sun. I might lie outside. It does feel good to lay in the sun. And I'll lay on my back and I'll shut my eyes and I'll focus on the back of my eyelids. So I'm focusing on what I'm seeing in the back of my eyelids, and that's all I'm thinking about. I'm also focusing on how my body feels on the texture of the ground, how my clothes feel on my body, and while I'm doing that, I'm concentrating on what I hear as well, so I can listen to myself breathe. This is all distracting your brain from thinking anything. So if you set a timer and you practice being in the moment, concentrating on your breath, what your body feels like on the ground, listen to your breathing, and anytime something pops in your head, whether it's a good vision or a bad vision, try shutting it down straight away and going back to the concentration of your senses. You seeing the back of your eyelids, the breathing, the feeling sensations. And that's training to have nothing in your mind. If you can set a timer for 15 minutes and every time something comes in your mind, and you can practice shutting it off straight away by using distractions of your senses, that is teaching you to get rid of what you don't want in your head when it comes in your head. It's like going to the gym and working your arms and then having stronger arms. If you can do this technique for 15 minutes a day, you're training your brain to be able to cancel what it doesn't want as soon as it comes in there. Now just think about this. If you can shut down thoughts with your eyes closed, when your eyes closed, you're bored, you're not seeing anything. When you can't hear much noise, you're not hearing anything. all your entertainment is shut off. You're bored. When you're bored, your brain gets mental. You start thinking a lot. So if you can shut down your thoughts when you're not entertained, imagine how easy it'll be to shut down your thoughts when you can see, when you can hear, when you're out having fun. It's way beneficial. You might be driving in a car and anxiety might rise to your head, and you're built the skills to just shut it off, be in the moment, feel your hands in the wheel, listen to your breathing, feel your ass on the car seat, feel the breeze out the car window, focus on all them distractions instead of watching your brain, and try and cancel that thought. It's practice, 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 just like anything else. If you can, the more you do it, the better you get at it. You can also do walking meditation. Walking meditation is where every time you're walking and you feel your feet hit the ground, you're focusing your senses in your brain on the feeling of your foot hitting the ground and leaving the ground all the way from your heel to your toe and lifting up, and the other foot touching the ground from your heel all the way to your toe, and feeling every movement of your walk on the ground, focusing on looking in front of you, listening to your breathing as you're walking. Your brain is only in your senses and where you're walking to, not in your mind and in your head. One more hot tip is when you're laying there with your eyes shut and you're trying to think about your distractions and not bring anxiety up. Now, don't think about not bringing anxiety up, because as soon as you think about anxiety not coming up, you're reminding it that it's there and it can come up. So while you are concentrating on your distractions, on your senses, if you feel like your brain's starting to tick and starting to think and imagine something about to come up in your head, you can just say, I'm doing fine as I am. I don't need to try harder. I've got this uncomfortable as I am, and it's easy and I'm enjoying it. Unsteady. Now, once you learn to cancel stuff out your brain that you don't want to be in there, you can start to tell yourself to think the way you want to think. Let's go back to that game of footy I was telling you about. I could play a game of footy, score 4 tries a game, but I could have one time in that game when I dropped the ball, and I would only focus on that drop ball, the bad parts of that game, because that's the way my brain was trained. But if your brain can get trained like that over time, you can train your brain back the other way over time as well. You can retrain your brain to do what you want it to. So, say you play a game of footy again and you score 3 tries, but you have one drop ball, you can tell yourself over and over and over about that 3 tries that you scored, and you can go, wow, I scored 3 tries. How good am I? I scored 3 tries. How good am I? And that bad part where you dropped the ball that's gonna try and come into your head, right? As soon as that comes into your head, that's when you use your training techniques or distractions to get that bad thought out of your head. When that bad thought's out of your head, you think about the good thoughts all the time. You're rewiring your whole brain. If you've got a stressful day tomorrow, you can go to bed tonight and just tell yourself, oh, tomorrow's gonna be good, I can't wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be good, I can't wait till tomorrow. It might seem like you're bullshitting to yourself, but your brain will start to believe it, and you're gonna start getting that pattern of thought, because for your brain to think anxiety and negativity all the time, that is a pattern of thought that came from people talking bullshit to you, people putting you down. So why can't you bullshit to yourself and tell yourself everything's positive? That can rewire your brain the way you want it, if you get my drift. Talk about intrusive thoughts. Intrusive thoughts are unwanted thoughts that are disturbing that automatically can come into your head. For an example, let's say one night you stay up late, you're watching fucking Friday the 13th, Jason Voorhees, and he's, gone to the campsite, and he's killing people everywhere. He's got his big knife, and he's flashing people, stabbing people left, right, and center. Blood going everywhere. Anyway, you wake up the next morning. You're in the kitchen. You go, oh, I might have some vegetables to eat. Say you're cutting up your vegetables. You are cutting up your vegetables. Maybe you're cutting up a carrot. And then let's say a family member watching, they're walking in the fridge, you're cutting up your carrot, and they're going in the fridge, they're going to get a Vegemite sandwich, right? And they're sitting there gnawing on a Vegemite sandwich, and you look at them, and you look at your knife, and you look at them, and you look at your knife, and you have a vision, and you go, ah. You have a vision of you using the knife on your family member. And then you go, hang on, am I a murderer? Will I do that? Well, I'm not a murderer, but I've never been a murderer. I've never killed anyone before. Ah, am I a murderer? But intrusive thoughts can be something as bad as that. But really, what intrusive thoughts are is that they're like your memory and your imagination just crossing over. Your memory and your imagination isn't always good. That's why we have nightmares. So what's happening is, the night before, you watch Jason Voorhees stabbing all these people on the TV, Friday the 13th. You looked at your knife, and your knife reminded you of all that killing you saw in the movie, and that's why you had your imagination and your memory just had a crossover. And that's why you imagined using your knife on someone. Now, you can sit there you can dwell on this intrusive thought for years and years and years. Now, what happens is, because that thought comes in your head of killing somebody, or something very disturbing, an intrusive thought is always some thought that is the total opposite action to who you are and what you would do. Now, the scary thing is that you've got your pride and you will never do that to someone. So when that thought comes into your brain, the scary thing is that you believe that no thoughts should come in your brain because that's not you. And that's why you shit yourself. But, like I said, half the stuff that comes in your brain, it's not true. It's all bullshit anyway. Now, the more that you try and convince yourself, I'm not a murderer, but am I? But I'm not a murderer, but am I thinking these things? They can't be real. I'm no killer. The more you argue with that thought, the more you're feeding it to eat you up. The more it's going to be in your head, the more you're going to be nervous and under pressure because you're scared of yourself. But like I said, all it is your memories and your imagination crossing over. Now, the best thing to do is reason with it. So, say you look at your knife, you look at your family member, and that memory remembers that movie you watched. You had that vision, All you gotta do is say, look, I know what I am. I've never had these intentions before, and then just laugh it off and forget about it. Ha ha ha. I know I'm not a murderer. Leave it at that. You know what you can also do? Another good tactic is, see, this intrusive thought, say the vision of killing someone. Now, that comes into your head automatically, right? Now, I bet you if you sit there for a minute and you try and imagine yourself on purpose using that knife on someone, or even whoever you had that thought about, using that knife on that person, your brain's going to automatically not want to think about it. It's going to repress that thought that you're bringing up on purpose, and your brain's quickly going to go, fuck that, because that's not you. Now, when it uncontrollably comes up, you don't have time to react. That's why it flows. But instead of panicking and believing that shitty thought, maybe try and bring it up on purpose, and I bet your brain won't even want to bring it up. And then you know the truth. Alright, I'm not a murderer. It's just something that reminds you of something else that you saw crossing over. I could look at the grass, the green grass, and then I could look at the sky, and I could go, fuck, imagine if the grass was blue and the sky was green. It's the same shit. The only thing is, a blue sky, let's say a green sky and a blue ground isn't nothing bad, so you don't give a shit. And that's the only difference. Like all anxiety, the more you fight it, the more you try and argue with it, it'll eat you up. And it'll just keep taking you over. As soon as you get anxiety, all you gotta do is just say, nah, that's not me. You realise it's a load of bullshit, and that's it. So what I want to leave you with is start building a relationship with yourself. Start being your own best friend. People now think it's a lonely life to go out on holidays by yourself, go to the movies by yourself. But I think going out and doing fun things on your own is a healthy relationship to have with yourself. You can learn to be your own best friend. Now let's picture anxiety as a bully, what do bullies do? So a bully will pick on you. He'll pick on someone that's weaker than him and knows that every time he picks on him, he will get a reaction out of him. So if you don't give that bully a reaction, he's going to get bored and eventually he's going to go away. Now, when you have a good relationship with yourself, when you start enjoying things on your own and you start liking your own company, you start to realise how good you really are. When that bully comes to pick on you, you can say to the bully, "No, you're full of shit. I know who I am, and I love myself. Now piss off." Don't even get angry with it. Just stay calm, relax, breathe, and walk away. And straight away, bring up something that you enjoy thinking about. Like Vision Batman just standing out in his cape. You keep swapping your bad thoughts to your good thoughts, and over time, it'll do it without you even trying.